Hey everyone, this is Kristin from KristinCoaching.com, and in today's video we're going to be discussing social media etiquette for relationships. I think with so many interactions and communications we have on social media these days, they can cause a lot of arguments in the relationship, a lot of rifts. Oftentimes, people on social media might do things that the partner disapproves of or disagrees of, and that can cause a lot of conflict in the relationship. So I thought it'd be a really good idea to talk about social media etiquette for couples, for relationships, so you know the do's and don'ts of what is acceptable and what isn't. And these are very general. Obviously, you need to make them work for both of you guys as a couple, but I have noticed that these things that I'm about to talk about have been helpful for my relationship and many other couples out there that I have either worked with or I know personally as well. So I wanted to share my tips with you today on what that looks like, okay? So I think in general, before we discuss it, I have 6 tips for you, but it's really important to understand that there needs to be boundaries on social media. There has to be boundaries, there has to be rules, there has to be etiquette to make sure that you and your significant other are happy with the interactions and the communications that are going on with the outside world. The last thing you want is to get in a fight and an argument over things that you do on social media or things that you say or vice versa. It's just really not worth it. I think relationships are hard enough and we have so many things that we need to work on and deal with. So to have something like a social media situation go on that causes a huge argument and a huge fight, it can totally be avoided if you guys actually take some steps, okay, and actually think about the best ways to do this. So let's talk about the 6 social media etiquette tips for you today in your relationship, okay? Number 1, I think it's good to consider sharing each other's passwords for social media. But I say this because I do not want you guys to be taking advantage of each other's passwords. So this does not mean that you can be going into each other's accounts every single day, snooping through the DMs, snooping through the private Facebook messages, whatever that is. The passwords is a sign of trust that you're giving your significant other. It's a gesture to say, hey, I'm not hiding anything, so I'm going to be giving you my password so you have it, so you know that you can look at it anytime you want or you need. But I'm telling you from me, like I'm telling you right now, that I don't want you to be looking at it every day because that shows that you don't trust your significant other. That actually shows a really unhealthy dynamic if you're going to be looking through your significant other's social media accounts every single day. Okay, so this is not to be used and be taken advantage of, but it is so you have to have in your back pocket if you ever do need it. If you ever do want to check in once in a while, make sure everything's going okay, you absolutely can do it. You just don't want to take advantage of it. So consider sharing each other's passwords. This isn't something you have to do, but I think it's good. I mean, I have that in my relationship. I know my husband's passwords. He knows mine. We're not hiding anything. He can look at it anytime. I don't think he does, but he can, and that's fine with me. And same thing. I don't snoop through his, but I could. And, I could check in once in a while if I needed to, but I don't feel the need. So anyways, I want you to consider doing that. I think it's a sign that you don't have anything to hide, that your life is open, and, here you go, honey, you can have my passwords because I'm not doing anything that I shouldn't be doing. Okay, so you can consider that in your relationship if that works for you. Just don't take advantage of it. Number 2. Ask yourself how you would feel if the tables were turned. So this has to do with posts that you might post. This has to do with likes, things that you might like. This has to do with, maybe, instant messages or whatever it is. If you're going to post anything, if you're going to like something, I want you to be asking yourself, how would you feel if your significant other was making this post? How would you feel if your significant other was liking this type of a post? Whatever it is, you want to behave in ways that you would be okay with if your partner did the same thing. It's kind of like, how do I want to be treated in my relationship? So therefore I'm going to be demonstrating the same level of respect that I would want my partner to give me. Okay, so I want you to be thinking about that type of a mentality as you're posting things, as you're liking things. Think about if the tables were flipped, would you be upset? Would you be hurt? Would you be mad? If that is a yes on any of those, then don't do it. Okay, but if you're going to be posting things that you think are appropriate and your significant other, and you wouldn't be mad if your significant other does it, then I think that's a safe rule of thumb, and I say go for it. Okay, tip number 3. Post comments and images that convey respect in your relationship. So don't be posting anything that is insulting to your relationship. Like, oh, my boyfriend just pissed me off today, and oh, I just hate him sometimes. That's disrespectful to your relationship. That's also putting your business out there for the whole world to see. Probably not a good idea. Or if you post, maybe if I were to be posting a picture of, the guy who plays Thor, Chris somebody, whatever his name is in real life. If I was posting a picture of like his, with his shirt off and looking super hot, and I was like, ooh, yeah, I'd be with him if I wasn't with my current husband. That might be disrespectful to my relationship. My husband might not really appreciate that, so I'm not going to post something like that. So you want to make sure that you post things that are respectful to your relationship, that you think about, hey, how would my significant other respond if I were to post this type of a thing? You want to be respectful to your partner. You want to be respectful to your relationship. So just be careful on the type of content that you're posting, okay? And make sure that it's not going to be upsetting your significant other. Number 4, avoid private conversations with other people that could lead to emotional cheating or physical cheating. So I really do stress the importance of, being careful about your DMs, being careful about your, instant messages to other people. I say this because they can definitely be a way to maybe share too much or be flirty or, have that emotional cheating that's going on, of course, lead to physical cheating if things get too intense in a private conversation. You just want to be really careful with that. I'm not saying that you can't do DMs. I'm not saying you can't do, instant messages to other people, but just be really careful with the content that you're doing. And again, make sure that the content that you're saying with whoever you're having that conversation with, that your significant other isn't going to be upset that you're doing it. If sometimes there are rules in relationships where people are, saying, hey, don't do any DMs with other people of the opposite sex, or don't do any instant messages with people of the opposite sex. Sometimes people have that rule in the relationship, and if it works for them, I say great. I don't like to pigeonhole you by saying, no, you absolutely can't privately message people. I think there's every circumstance and every situation that's different, but just make sure that you're being appropriate in your private messages, okay? That's really important, and that's respectful to the relationship, okay? Because you don't want to get yourself in a situation where you're having, an emotional affair with somebody privately, and of course, some type of affair that could lead to a physical situation. So be really careful with the private messages with other people. Make sure that's respectful. Make sure that you're not doing anything inappropriate in there. Number 5. I think when it comes to social media etiquette, you want to set time limits in general for your social media. So make sure that if you're with your significant other, you want to be on your social media at an appropriate amount of time, meaning that you want to make sure that you're having enough time for you and your significant other to interact one-on-one, and you're not constantly on your phones doing your thing on social media, scrolling through everybody's posts without spending quality time together. So limit your social media contact and interaction in general, but especially when you and your significant other are having time together, okay? You don't want social media to interfere with your relationship and your ability to connect with each other. So make sure that you have time limits on social media when you guys are together. Be appropriate about it. I think that's important. That's just a general rule. Last but not least, ask each other's permission to post pictures of one another. That's actually a big deal. I've come across a lot of personal situations where somebody has posted a picture of their significant other, but they, their significant other didn't like the picture, or they didn't want other people to know, what they were doing, what their significant other was doing, privately. And so therefore somebody posted their significant other and tagged them wherever they were at. And, sometimes that can cause arguments with your other half. So I think it's just a good rule of thumb to ask permission. Be like, hey, can I post this picture of us? Are you okay with that? It's good, because this way you're getting permission from your significant other. You're not invading your significant other's privacy. Just because it's okay for you to post a picture of yourself wherever you're at doesn't mean your significant other wants to as well. Or sometimes we're insecure about maybe our looks or whatever, or we don't think we look good in a certain picture. So I think just asking each other's permission to post things on social media is etiquette. That's important, that's respectful to your relationship, and that's respectful to your significant other. It's just a good rule of thumb. So I think those last two, number 5 and 6 that I talked about, are just very general rules, but important to have when it comes to social media etiquette tips. Okay, so I hope these 6 tips were super helpful for you. I want you to start implementing these in your relationship if you don't have these already, because I think they're gonna create some safety around the relationship. I think they're gonna create some boundaries around the relationship for you guys, and hopefully your arguments over social media and negative interactions that you guys are having as a couple are gonna lessen. You just have to put these things in place and make sure that they're pretty solid, and that of course they work for both of you as a couple. Okay, so please, if you have any more suggestions, I'd love to hear them. Comment below. I want to see what they are. Of course, I'll get back to you. If you have any questions about these 6 tips that I gave you, comment below. I'll get back to you. Like this video, please share it. Subscribe to my YouTube page if you haven't already. Again, this is Kristin from KristinCoaching.com, and I'll see you all next time. Okay, bye.